Entitled parents can be the worst. I'm your host, Height. Let's see who's been cursed. Our first one is from OK Training 8198. I got a job around 3 months ago. It's my first proper job that doesn't happen to be in a fast food restaurant. No hate. This was to pay for my rent and save up for uni. I live away from my parents because I go to an international school in another city. As per customs in the country I live in, and to show gratitude, I gifted my first paycheck to my parents. It wasn't much, but I could see that they appreciated it, and we were all happy. This lasted for 10 minutes. My mother then decided to go on the family group chat to tell everyone. No blame on her, I understand. I then get a call from my aunt, who then proceeds to ask me about the details of my job. Which seems fishy considering she hasn't really given a shit about my existence until 2 seconds after that text message is sent. She then explains that her son, my cousin, who goes to the same school and is in my grade, is going to college. No shit. And that I, as a person with a source of income and as a family member, should pay for part of his school fees using my next paycheck, as I am part of the family and I should support him. For the record, I know that my aunt has a substantially larger salary than I do, but I guess she doesn't care to spend a dime of it on something that doesn't benefit her. Additionally, when I got into this school, my mother called my aunt to ask if I could stay with her until I graduated, but she refused, saying they didn't have space. Instead, my parents bought me a small flat, and I have to work to contribute to the rent. My aunt went on about how hard my cousin worked to get into college and insisted that I should have some sympathy for him. Honestly, I don't feel any sympathy for a kid who stays out all night and barely puts in effort at school. With the little patience I had left, I politely reminded her that most of my salary goes to my own basic needs, such as paying rent and buying food, as well as saving up for my tuition fees. To which she rudely responded with, "If you can do that, you should be able to donate some money." I've always been taught the value of hard work and self-sufficiency, and now it feels like my effort was being taken for granted. So I then hang up on her out of frustration. Later, I get a call from my mother asking why her sister was complaining about me. I explained my end of the story, and now she's blocked my aunt as well. My aunt realized this and has been pestering other relatives to help cover the fees and guilt-tripping and shaming those who don't donate, and is probably ranting in the family chat as I am writing this. It feels good to vent a bit. Sorry if it was long and the wording is weird. My English sucks. This is like the exact same thing that they say would happen to a person if they win the lottery. If anybody catches wind that somebody has any form of money, everybody comes out of the woodwork looking for their handout. I do find it ironic that she makes substantially more than the OP and still wants other people to pay for her kids' college. This next one is by Ms. Roth Artist. Hi, so this happened about 6 years ago, back in 2019. I, female, was 24 years old at the time, when I was still living in New Jersey, just finished college and working as a shift manager at a fast food restaurant, which I will not name, while also doing my tattoo apprenticeship. One day, one of the cashiers, who I will call Jane, came up to me and asked for help as there was a situation in the counter she didn't really know how to deal with. At the counter was this man and his son, and behind him was this woman with 2 younger kids. The man then explained that he is the father of his 10-year-old son, and the woman behind him is his ex, who's the mother of his son, but he's not the father of her other 2 kids. He had custody of his son today, so he was taking him out for lunch and to visit a museum. But the baby mama and her 2 kids, as he called her, just so happened to also show up at the restaurant at the same time he pulled up. She was demanding that he also treat her 2 other kids for lunch and take them to the museum as well. But the man said he is responsible for his son and his son only. His ex then tried to interject, saying that she didn't want her kids to be left out while her oldest kid, the son, got special treatment, and that their dads are not in the picture. That said, she wanted the man to pay for the lunches of her 2 kids as well. I told Jane I'll take it from here, and the man told me that he will order 2 Baconator combos for himself and his son. As I was taking his order, the woman then tried shouting the order for her 2 other kids. The man and his ex started arguing again. Then the man turned to me, adamantly saying he will only pay for his order and that of his son, plus he will pay in cash. The woman then started shouting at me to add her order to his as well. I just told the woman she will need to wait her turn. The man paid for his order and waited. The woman then came up to me, gave me her order, plus that of her kids, but when I told her the price of 5 combos, for herself and her 2 kids, she then asked, "Didn't Booker," referring to her ex, "already pay for it?" I told her that his order was only for himself and his son, and that her order was separate from his. Also, I only took her order after the man paid, so yeah. The woman then started screaming at me at how hard it is for her to be a single mom. She doesn't have the money to pay, but she pointing to the man, her ex, again, saying that he should have to pay for her order as he's single, has a full-time job, and lives by himself. The man then shouted, reiterating that her 2 other kids are not his responsibility. I told the woman that I sympathize with her. I genuinely do, but that I can't add her order to that of another customer who already paid and very specifically said he'd only pay for his order. I then asked her if she's still paying for her order or if I need to cancel it. She then tried to grab his wallet, demanding he give her his credit card, but he pushed her off. Then she left, telling the man to take her 2 kids with him to the museum with him. Yes, she legit just left her kids with him. At this point, I didn't really know what else to do, but the man told me that he'd also like to buy some fries and chili for her 2 other kids she left with him, and told me he'd drop them off at his ex's, the mom's, place by himself. I told him not to bother paying for the extra fries as it's on the house, and I'll just add extra fries to his existing order. I decided to share this because I recently witnessed another parent randomly abusing their kid at a Taco Bell, and that reminded me of this. Edit, not sure why this seems to be a point of confusion for those in the comments, but while the guy did pay in cash, the ex demanded that he give her his card to pay for her order. It is possible for wallets to carry both cards and cash, last I checked. Just thought I should clear that up. This mom sounds like an absolute piece of fucking work. The fact that she tried to just outright leave her 2 kids with her ex that don't even belong to her ex, I can't even imagine what she's doing behind closed doors or in other public locations. I feel like she could use a visit from Child Protective Services. And our final one is by Ammy Yammy Yammy. I'm a bit fuzzy on the details now. Blocked memories and all that, but I remember one day after working at a restaurant from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. No lunch, barista, bartender, serving, and dish pig. My dad cornered me and said since I was so rich, I wasn't, I was a manager making less than the junior staff, I should pay him back on all the child support my mother stole from him. He then showed me the letters he kept, and with the way he went on and on over the year, I expected it to be thousands per month. Sure, I went to private school, but they chose to send me there before they even got divorced. The plan had originally been to go there from pre-primary, but they missed the cutoff, so I went from year 7 to 12. Also, the cost for the school was done separately, outside of child support. So what it was used for was uniforms, swimming lessons, healthcare, Medicare, phone plan, until I turned 16. Then I paid for my own with the help from mom, but top it off occasionally as I used my phone as a hotspot so my sister could do homework. Dad didn't want to pay for Wi-Fi as we would waste it. Long story. The rest they dealt with on their own. Just paid it if it was their week. So basically, he paid fuck all. About $15 to $20 per week for 2 kids. For years I listened to him guilt me on it, try to twist us against our mom, and sometimes it worked. Have him say he couldn't afford food because of us. all to find out that he paid practically nothing. He worked as a locksmith and then a motorbike mechanic in a specialized area, then went back to being a locksmith. I'm not in contact with him now, obviously. My sister lives with him still, but we're fine. She comes over to stay at mine pretty often, mostly for the Wi-Fi. But she prefers Dad's to Mum as she has issues with our mum. Longer story there. He just took my sister on a week-long trip to Bali, all expenses paid. She's 20 and hasn't had a job for over a year. When I last lived with him, I was the cook, the cleaner, the caretaker of my sister, the dog walker, and the person putting myself in the middle deliberately to avoid hospital visits and animal abuse. But yeah, that's my dad, a begging man-child. The fact that any parent would come at their kid and demand child support that they paid for their child is absolutely mind-boggling, but screams entitlement on levels that I didn't even realize 100% existed, that exceed most entitled parents. I'm not really sure what else I can say outside of the fact that this entitled father is an absolute piece of work. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled Parents. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.